In this episode, I get the opportunity to sit down with an Army vet, world traveler, and Conway, South Carolina native, Julius Strickland. And I've got to say, I knew that this conversation would be anything but boring, but it also turned out to be truly inspiring. We explored about finding purpose in the Army, the struggles of reintegration to civilian life, and then finding new purpose in helping other veterans and local fathers needing similar assistance. Let's dig in. So today we are joined by Jules Strickland, who is coming to us straight out of boot camp class for the night. How was class tonight?
Class was good. Lots of energy, a lot of sweat, which is always a positive thing. It actually had one person leave boot camp class to go to boxing class. So they are going to
so you're going to have to step it up for that person next time.
Oh, yeah, I got to kill them next time.
Yeah, not enough. Yeah, if they got energy for that. Yeah,
they're going to leave vomiting. That's my plan next time.
Exactly.
I'm a great person. That's it.
So as you and I have kind of chatted about a little bit, there's a bunch of reasons why I thought that you would be a great person to have on for the podcast. Just because, just that too. Just knowing a little bit just from the small amount of time that you and I have spent together, I believe moving equipment.
Yeah,
one of our
moving
excursions.
equipment.
But just learning a little bit, about your background and, kind of what, you do today. So, let's start at the beginning. Like, where'd you grow up? Are you a Myrtle Beach native or you come from elsewhere?
I actually grew up in Conway. I mean,
oh, wow.
30 minutes from here, Conway was a little
you don't
small.
Sound like you grew up in Conway.
There's a reason for that. So Conway, when I was a kid, god awful many years ago, was a little town that rolled up the sidewalks at 4:30 in the afternoon. There was nothing there. And I was going somewhere and it wasn't going to be there.
Yeah. Okay.
So at 18, I left it a dead run, just as hard as I could go, and traveled the world.
Is that kind of like what made you decide to join the military? Or was this even before you joined the military?
Pre-military.
Oh, okay.
Pre-military. I decided
like backpacking around Europe kind of dude? Or?
Around the country. I worked as a mechanic. I worked as a bartender, a cook, anything I could do to get me to the next town.
Sure.
Because I didn't know where I wanted to be, and I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I didn't want to grow up. So I did that for several years until I decided it was time to join the Army.
Okay.
And then that was kind of the
and like that was just because you decided I need some structure. They pay for school or just
I mean, we can get really dark about it. I had a gigantic drug problem and had to get cleaned up, and I figured the easiest way to do that was in a place where I could not be bad.
When did you go in?
I went in 2007.
But like what age?
I was 30.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was 30.
I didn't realize it was that late in life. Holy cow. Okay.
I was a late
And they still
start.
took you as an old dude like that?
Oh yeah, and I ran 18-year-olds into the ground. It was
Probably
great.
had a mission to do so just because.
Absolutely. I was like, I'm going in with a bunch of 18-year-old kids. I have to be faster, smarter, and stronger than everyone else.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. Joined up in the infantry. Wound up getting stationed in Europe, which was the coolest experience of my life. Stayed over there for
what part of Europe?
Italy. It was
nice.
tough, horrible place to be stationed. The food and the women and the travel.
Oh,
God, it was so bad. It was
awful.
I know. People were like, "Thank you for your service." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Deployed a couple times with the infantry unit I was with.
Deployed to
Afghanistan.
Okay.
Had a good time there. That was fun. I love my job. Yeah, it's.
Well, like, were you a specialist in the Army or like?
I was an infantryman. I was a good old fashioned.
Wow.
Carry a gun, grunt.
Wow.
And loved what I did. Loved the unit I was with. I was with the 173rd, which is a pretty specialized airborne unit based in Italy, and we just get to go fuck shit up.
Okay. So you were still based in Italy, so after you were deployed, you just went back to Italy?
Just went back to Italy.
Okay.
It was
so
tough.
like, it wasn't like you came home to the States.
Nope.
You came home to Italy.
Yeah, to Italy. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I left in 2007, I flew to Italy from Fort Benning, Georgia, and never came back to America.
Wow.
I stayed there for the whole 7 years, traveled all over.
So speak Italian, I'm guessing?
I did. No? I've been back in the States for, oh my God, 9 years now. So my foreign language skills have suffered. I don't get to speak all the time. I can still read Italian, still read some German. Spanish is still pretty easy, but to converse, I stumble. I'm like, wait, ciao.
think that's what it is.
Yeah. So it's, language skills. If you don't use it, you lose it. It really, that's the adage.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wound up back here on accident. When I got out of the military, I got some plates.
You weren't even looking to come home
No.
You were looking to stay over there.
I was. I had gotten accepted at a school in Denmark. It was a business school.
Oh, wow.
I had an apartment. I had the whole caboodle.
Nice.
2 weeks before I was supposed to transition out of the Army, I got a letter from the State Department saying that my visa had been denied and I could not go.
Okay.
So
you did 2 tours. So how long were you in the military total?
7 years.
7 years total.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you enjoyed your job.
Loved it. I'd go back today if they'd let me.
You liked being in the desert? Like the climate, the whole 9 yards, or?
It's the structure.
The environment of being in the military
I got trained. I got paid to train every day. We woke up, we did PT, we went and trained, went to the gym, ate a lot of food, traveled around Europe. I mean, it was a tough go of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I loved the structure and the camaraderie. As I look back on it, it really was a transformative part of my life on how to build teams and how to motivate people and how to lead and how not to lead. You learn that just as quickly. So
is that kind of like what you would say is like was your favorite part of being in the military, and like the most that you got out of it was learning to lead and
absolutely
teach people? Yeah.
While I was in, not quite as important. Once I transitioned out and was able to kind of see it from the outside, I was like, wow, like that's huge. Like people paid tens of thousands of dollars, to go to school to do that.
Yeah.
And I got paid to go do it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
And what was your least favorite part?
Really nothing.
There was nothing that you didn't?
No. I said, if they would let me, I would go back today.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd still be in the military if they would have let you?
Yeah.
So why'd you leave?
I have titanium plates bolted into my neck and gaps in my knee that you could pitch a dog through. And
so you were injured then? What happened?
A few things. Airborne jumps. I was a paratrooper, so we jumped out of airplanes. Deployment wear and tear. Just fun things like that.
Okay.
The neck, we really can't figure out what caused it. I woke up one day in an excruciating amount of pain. Couldn't feel my entire right hand. Couldn't use my right arm. And
wow.
After returning, because I was on a deployment, so after returning from the deployment, went and got some CAT scans and MRIs, and they were like, "You have a disc that is completely collapsed.
You should probably not go back."
I did. That was actually my first deployment. I went back for the second one.
They let you back after that one. Oh, okay.
Well, the military is all about paperwork.
And the excruciating pain was not enough to send you away.
No, I got a surgery, got a plate bolted into my neck. I got a PA to sign off on my medical paperwork saying I was fit to deploy, and I went on the next deployment.
Nice. So then, so you left because you were falling apart, it sounds like.
Man, that sounds so terrible when I hear it in these headphones. I'm like, you're falling apart. Crap.
So did you end up going to college in the States when you came back then? Or
I'm still in college.
Oh, okay. So you're still doing it today?
Yeah.
For what you thought you wanted to take then, or have you kind of changed your?
Oh God, no. When I first got out, I went to culinary school. I love to cook. I love food.
Nice.
And so I went to culinary school right here in Myrtle Beach at Tech. Loved it. It was a great program. It was a good way to get back into school without getting back into school. Because you had to take some classes that were traditional. Learned a lot of what I didn't know about cooking that I thought I did. So I give that program all kinds of props.
Anything in particular? Like, did you go for a specific type of cuisine, or was it like just?
No, it was an associate's degree program. Okay. I got to go to school and learn how to cook.
And did you use it? Did you?
I do. I occasionally will cater events and fill in at restaurants and stuff because I really do love to cook, and production cooking's a challenge because you have to think fast and you have to be able to be perfect every single time.
Yeah.
So
and it's a whole lifestyle.
It is. It is that I don't necessarily want to get back into. There are a lot of substances that aren't good for me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
you went to culinary school and then kept going with different subject matter, or?
I did. So I got back to work. I was actually retired, and my lovely wife, we were sitting on the couch. We weren't married yet. And she kind of looked at me and she was like, hey, have you ever thought about going back to work? And I was like, no. She was like, no, really. Have you thought about going back to work?
Yeah, have you thought about not being next to me
Yeah,
all of the days?
Apparently, I'm a horrible retired person. Oh, I can't find enough things to do. I have to do things. And so I went back to work, and then
you're like at home making projects.
Oh yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Taking things apart and not putting them back together because I started another project, which always makes a wife really happy.
I could see where this conversation came about.
Absolutely. Oh, it was all my fault. All my fault. So yeah, and then I got going back to work into business because I'd done that kind of pre-joining the Army, managing people. And then the skills I picked up in the Army, I was like, hey, I could really do this. Like, I know how to do this. So I started working for a couple companies, and then decided again that there were things I didn't know that I needed to know. So I went back to school. So now I'm getting a bachelor's in industrial and organizational psychology and operational leadership.
Interesting.
Yeah. Big change.
And had you taken any psychology previously, or is this kind of like a new?
I'd taken some elective courses, like, abnormal psychology, the fun stuff that you get to take, when you're taking regular college courses, but nothing that was really as focused as like industrial organizational psychology.
Yeah. No, that's very specific.
Yeah. Where you're like, hey, this is how people think about work. Like,
yeah. Oh. But the reason why I ask is because even I got into this conversation with Will on one of our other episodes about how I think that taking psychology is really important.
Absolutely.
Especially if you want to be in business. Like it should be part of the program.
Oh,
for
core curriculum. Core curriculum.
Because it was something that like every class that wasn't a business or accounting class when I was in school, that's what I took because it was interesting. Yeah. Like they were easy to get into. And like, so I took everything from like basic psychology to various sociology classes, which is great to contrast the two and see how they work together. And then, up to like, classes on death and dying. Cause like, again, like if I just kept down that road for anything like, oh, I got another 3 credits to fill. Let's find another.
I got 3 elective hours I got to do. Yes.
And I think it's one of the things in school that I would say actually I benefit from on a daily basis in business, because being able to understand motivations of other people and how not everybody's motivations are the same, not everybody's triggers are the same,
and how to impact those motivations.
Exactly. How to make each person productive and then, minimize, what they're not good at is something that you kind of pick up on from psychology that like you don't learn in any other class.
No business class covers that interpersonal interaction when you have to tell someone to do something they don't want to do.
Right.
Like no one wants to do grunt work.
Or don't understand why, or like, like
nothing covers you for that.
And are they somebody that cares about the why or not? And like, I mean, there's just so much involved in it. And like, so if you understand any of that, it's so much easier in business than just, I think any of the courses that you're taking, like on, management 101, which is, kind of bullshit, right?
It is. You learn the theories of management. And you're like, okay, that's great. But having worked in management,
common sense.
Yeah. Having worked in management I'm like, yeah, that's not how that works. No one ever does that. You're replacing, okay, thanks for the rate.
Yeah, but I mean, like having conversations like that, or like getting people like I said, to be productive, or to, coach them out of a scenario that's, not working well for the business or them personally, whether they realize it or not. Like it's all, skills that like I think are so important. So yeah.
And that's part of why. So like it's in my bachelor's I'm getting now, my next step in my degree is an MBA. So I'm going to get the industrial organizational psychology, get the MBA to finish up, those higher level management courses that everybody's got to take, and then get my PhD in industrial and organizational psychology.
Yeah, don't sit still.
Dude. No. I don't believe in spare time. Like it's just what it is.
Crazy.
But I think with that group of classes and then go into the teaching realm, I can make an impact on those types of classes and those decision-making processes where it's like, hey, what are we going to teach these kids about business? We need to teach them how to interact with people. We need to teach them how to motivate these people, not just the theory behind the management structure of their, org chart. They need to understand why it happens that way and how that's going to affect people
this way versus another way. So is that like kind of your end goal, that you want to end up in a teaching kind of position?
It's started to shift that way. As I've been in school and been working in the business world, I've really started to see that I can make an impact that way. To take the experience, take the education, and kind of these innate abilities I got in the military of being able to talk and train and motivate people. Say, hey, this is how we need to move forward and take that next step.
Were you in a leadership role in the military, like a mentoring and coaching kind of,
I was a team leader.
Training.
Okay. So you're kind of directly involved in people's lives, literally directly involved in people's lives. You eat, sleep, breathe, everything that they do.
Yeah. And talk about convincing people to do stuff that they don't want to do. I mean,
well, the military is a little different.
Everybody there wanted to be doing what they were doing.
No, absolutely not. Okay. No, nobody wanted to be there doing what they were doing. But it sounds horrible. In the military, you're property. You sign the paper where you're like, I'm going to do what I'm told, and I don't have a lot of options. But
I got to imagine accepting that is not an immediate kind of thing. That it's kind of a process.
You build the relationships and you learn about your team and what makes them tick. And this guy's motivated by the fact that if he performs well, he gets a 4-day weekend. Your other guy's there because they're going to pay for his college debt, and he doesn't care about anything else. He's just going to do his job and crank it out. So you have to learn to navigate that.
Right.
So that's kind of how I transitioned into what I do now.
Nice. And so, getting into kind of a little bit of what you do now, I know you've had a few different jobs before you kind of landed where you are now. But talk to me about your full-time job, because that seems really interesting. And how did you come about that? Was that just kind of recruiter kind of hey, I'm looking for a job, I found this, or was it something that you had heard about and kind of or knew people involved in?
I think it was fate, and that sounds dumb, but especially coming from I've kind of directed my life, and this job seemed as fate. So I'd been working in another project with a real estate law firm where I was rebuilding a team for them, and that project ended, and I was burnt out and tired, and had just worked too many hours consecutively. So I took some time off. Actually went and helped a buddy out in the kitchen just to decompress and be not in charge of anything for a while, and kind of got back. I was like, okay, it's I need to get back into that forward momentum that I was doing. Opened up a job board, saw the advertisement for a Father's Place. They needed a director of operations. Did some research on their program. Was like, wow, this is impactful. Like this isn't just I get to go manage people. I get to directly affect other people's lives by what I'm doing.
Yeah, talk about what they do, because I only knew about it just researching, honestly, sitting down talking with you, who they are and what they do. And yeah, it sounds amazing.
So here's the spiel. We'll go through the pitch. A Father's Place is a part of a statewide organization that works to benefit fathers in a state where fathers don't necessarily get a fair shake all the time. We provide educational and outreach services for dads that are in any kind of crisis situation. So they're paying child support. All of a sudden they can't. They're about to go to jail. They're having trouble in their relationship. They don't know how to connect with their kids. They don't know how to connect with their wife, or they don't know how to connect with their baby mama who hates every part of their being. And all of it's free. And we have caseworkers that interact with them on a day-to-day basis and help them through crisis situations. And we provide a curriculum for them that's based on kind of some key metrics that being a dad is about, being healthy, being financially stable, being a good parent, and having healthy relationships. And we walk them through that, and then, guide them down that path for goals that they've set for themselves. So they all have what we call a one-man plan. And it's a series of goals that they want to accomplish, based on what their end result would be. And we work them through that. So I stepped in as a director of operations to kind of streamline their processes, because I'm not a good caseworker. Not that guy. I can't hide things on my face.
Yeah.
So I'm the guy when they're telling me a story, I'm like, where in your head did that make sense? That's not me.
Yeah.
So, and, looking at the finances and working with the CEO and coming up with strategic plans of, how can we get this to more people?
So how do people come to you as clients, or
walk in the front door?
Really? So just show up.
Yeah, we have a social media marketing campaign. We're working on kind of in the next year. We just did an expansion into Charleston County, Dorchester County, down the East Coast. We actually cover the entire East Coast of South Carolina now. So we're looking at more of a targeted marketing campaign where we can start really drilling in on some keywords of things guys are looking for. Because everything happens on your phone now. We all know that. So being able to capitalize on that. And if a guy's looking for, how do I pay my child support, or being able to key in on those keyword searches and then directly market to them through those fun little channels in, the digital world that we can use to bring them in the front door. Because if they don't come, like we get calls from moms and girlfriends and
trying to send people.
Oh yeah. Like my son needs your program. I'm sure he does,
but he has to come.
He has to be ready.
Yeah. Well, so I was going to say, I mean, do you find that a lot of men are in a place where like this is something that they seek out, or is it more people are pushing them to go have this conversation?
Just in Georgetown County this year, we served and had complete 273 participants.
Nice.
Just in those two counties.
And how long is like the program that you're working with them, like start to finish?
Start to finish. If they were to just crank right through it, and go start to finish, it's 6 months.
Okay.
It's one session a week.
It's a commitment.
It is. You got to be ready for it.
Yeah.
So it's 6 months. They come to sessions 1 day a week, and then they have meetings with their caseworker another day of that week to make sure they're staying on track. And if they need any help with anything, I mean, our guys even go to court with participants, to help as character witnesses, or to, say, hey, yes, we've got him employed. We're getting him straightened out to get him on the path that they need. Yeah, there's a path, and we're here behind him, helping him keep on that path. So that's what we do. And so it's successful. It's been around for, let's see, this is 2024 will be 24 years that the organization's been around.
And what was kind of the genesis of that as an organization? Like, I'm assuming the founder is kind of, still around and is kind of like, driving the mission there. But was this something like personally that like, drove, I'm going to start this thing? Or
it was a community effort in Conway, actually not far from where I grew up, strangely enough.
Is it like a denominational aspect to it, or if it's the purely non-denominational, like it's not attached to any kind of like religious organization or anything like that? It's just purely...
There's a religious organization that funds us, but one of many funders.
But that's not the impetus.
No. It's not the, like, like a lot of your organizations, they'll come in and there's a kind of a mandatory prayer part of it. We don't have that. If you want to pray, pray. If you don't, don't. It's up to you.
Well, that's why I ask. Because I mean, if it's like, and you have to go to church every Sunday and go to confession, like, I could see that kind of being a different scenario.
It is. It is. And people have lives, and I get it. You're busy. You're trying to work. You're trying to make it. You got kids and wives and baby mamas, and you're barely making it to session. I'm not going to sit and be like, hey, and you need to go to Bible study in church. And you want to do that? Go do that.
Yeah.
If that's what you
need. If it helps, it helps. But that's not part of the program. Got it.
So I got involved in that. And it really was fate. Like I went and interviewed one time. I came home and told my wife, I was like, I want to work there.
Nice.
I want to do this.
That's great, though. I mean, that's the ideal scenario always.
It is. I get to make an impact, doing the things that I know how to do and
that you're good at.
That I'm good at.
So you find that you're doing a lot of the coaching stuff, a lot of the training stuff, organizational stuff. I'm guessing, kind of actually documenting.
Oh yeah.
Here's what a plan is, and all of that. What about like do you do a lot of the marketing and the outreach stuff, or is it just? Are you really more the guy that they sit down with?
Yeah, I'm definitely more the guy behind the scenes, the looking at operational plans and strategic planning, and hey, where do we want to be based on what we're doing now in the next 5 years? What systems do we want to use? What processes do we want to use?
But are you sitting down with individuals, or you're just planning? Okay, so you don't. I was thinking when you originally said I'm not the guy that the caseworker, like that. No. You're not the one that they originally talked to, but after that, you're.
No, I'm still not that guy. No, I would really like to be. I'd like to think that I was the type of person that could. I'm not. I'm really not.
But so you're the guy behind the scenes that's like planning it all out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with the CEO, who actually has been with the organization for 20 of the 24 years, on where we're going to go and how we're going to make this grow. Because the program, honestly, there's not a guy around that couldn't use it. Dad, not a dad. At some point, we all need someone or somewhere to go to talk to. Because let's face it, men are dumb. We don't ask for help. We don't know how.
Well, it's not just men. All people need accountability and support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Across the board. to, yeah.
And we provide that. So how many people can I get that to
Mhm.
is kind of my end goal. Like, 273 this year, great. If I could double it next year, awesome. Yeah.
Is the plan, to continue to have it be more locally focused to just the areas that you're in now, or is the plan to kind of like and expand the numbers from there, or expand geographically?
Oh, well, we just did the geographic expansion. So we're staffing wise, we're kind of at the limit of
Okay.
what we've got. So the idea now is to take that, maximize our impact in that geographic area, and then look ahead.
Mhm.
But not until we get to that point where we're comfortable saying, "Hey, we're doing what we need to do in these 11 counties." Now it's time to look. Do we need to help out?
And do you have like physical locations in like all these counties,
Not in all the counties.
or is it kind of like meet somewhere at the person's house, or like, or is it you come here and this is, and is it always one-on-one, or is there group aspects to
Both.
it too? Okay.
So we have one-on-ones with the caseworkers, and we have physical locations. Right now I've got 5. I've got one in Conway, one in Georgetown, one in Myrtle Beach, one in North Charleston, and one in Monk's Corner.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the other counties, we consider them satellite counties, and the new counties we just expanded into, we're looking at figuring out what that looks like. Are we going to set up a temporary location that we kind of share, with another group, or is there funding around that we can, and I'm just mangling this microphone over here. Is there funding around where we can kind of dedicate a space just to us?
Yeah. In terms of kind of long-term goals for a father's place, like what are the kind of, what's the end game there? Like, is this something that, like, have you thought about partnerships and how,
we do have,
like, okay.
There's 5 organizations similar to ours across the state, that all fall under an umbrella of the South Carolina Center for Fathers and Families. And with that umbrella, we actually cover the entire state in some capacity, all 46 counties, which makes us unique in the United States. We're the only state that does that. Yay, South Carolina's first in something. 49th in education, first in fatherhood. All right.
Okay, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. So that partnership is actually what's really allowed us to grow to the extent that we have. And I think will be key in the future of, taking those satellite counties that are, kind of like, hey, we get you what we can get you, and turning those into full service. There's a fatherhood center, that you come to and get the help and whatever it is that you
Is there any kind of political aspect too? Like, in terms of, working with lawmakers to kind of reform kind of aspects to it?
There is. And the South Carolina Center for Fathers and Families, they take care of a lot of that. They're in Columbia. They've got the lobbyists. They've got the folks right there at the Capitol driving those decisions based on the performance of all the other 5 organizations of what we do, so that we're all on the same page and lawmakers know what we're doing.
Okay.
Because that's where funding comes from.
Yeah.
That's how you make an impact. They have to see, like, hey, these folks are doing good work. Let's, drive whatever funding we have towards them.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So kind of moving on to your other not-for-profit that you work with, which is,
I don't believe in free time.
not your full-time job, but your passion kind of program. Tell me about that and like how, what it is, obviously, but also, how you kind of came about to, this is something that is necessary.
Okay. So we're going to get dark.
Go ahead.
So Jules was remarkably successful in the military, and I had a great time. And when I got out, I was not prepared for the person that I was to not be in the military.
Okay.
And I fell flat on my face.
Just like leaving the structure,
going from, I know what I'm going to do today, tomorrow, and the next day, and having whatever mission it was going, hey, this is what we're going to do, work towards that mission. Okay, great.
Having goals. Yeah.
Yeah. Having goals, having a schedule. I didn't have any of that anymore. And again, I'm a horrible retired person. So I was not a great version of me. I'd start drinking with breakfast.
Okay.
And, doing all the unsafe things that go along with that.
Yeah.
Almost died on a motorcycle. I drove it over the hood of a Lexus. Yeah, it was fun.
Okay. And with all of your other already, pre-existing conditions, I'm sure that went well.
Yeah, it did. I walked away from it, strangely enough. Went home, went to bed. No big deal.
Wow.
Got involved with a group that was just getting started called the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association.
Mm-hmm.
And true to form, I don't believe in doing anything half-assed. So I went at that with both feet in a flying leap. And we turned that from literally me and a bunch of other guys digging in our pockets to help veterans that were failing like we were because we were all a gigantic train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
To motivating them to the point that we had an income and an operating budget, and we had started focusing on eliminating the veteran homeless problem in Myrtle Beach. And we're getting other organizations involved with what we were doing.
Nice.
Over the course of about 3 years it took, and that allowed me, and really was the catalyst for me not being a train wreck.
Okay. Just having that purpose.
I had gotten fat, which actually was what brought me to the gym over, at the other location.
Uh-huh.
We were still there. And so all of those things kind of culminated together. I was getting back into shape. I was training every day. I had this mission. I had this focus. And I had the skills to be able to do it. So I took it even.
And was that organization like entirely kind of what snapped you out of it? Or did you have like other help?
I mean, that was my wife, which she definitely helped. If it were her, I'd probably be dead.
And but what about like VA services? Was there anything like that? There's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's there.
Okay.
But when I got out of the military, I went and, I did the right thing. I went to the VA and I applied for my services, and I was like, hey, I'm here and I'm out, and I apparently am going to need help because, this is going to go poorly.
Yeah.
And I had a medical doctor sit across the table from me. This is a guy with all kinds of fancy paper on the wall. And he looked at me and he was like, you will never have a public job again. He's like, you were indoctrinated. You will never work again. And I looked right at him and I was like, you can go fuck yourself.
And just like wrote you off.
Yeah. I was like, I'm 38 years old. I'm not done. I've got an entire life.
Like, so what was his suggestion for you?
They wanted to put me on a bunch of pills, and awesome. I could just go drink and take pills and fuck off, basically.
Nice.
So I did. I looked around. I was like, you can fuck off.
So it was really just like, so no help there. It really was finding other people in this motorcycle group that had similar experiences and kind of forming your own support group.
Yeah. Literally, and finding people that didn't want to be what it was we were apparently supposed to be, which was worthless. So we started doing that, and that is what started the whole passion project that I have is veterans.
And what's the name of it?
Oh, it's Operation Veteran Read. I probably should have said that in the beginning. I'm horrible at marketing. God, I'm so bad at this. I'm great at organization, horrible about telling what we do. It's Operation Veteran Reintegration. And what we do is focus on that transition from being that successful go-getter at whatever it is you do in the military to being that same person on the outside, just maybe not quite as forceful.
Yeah. Having to build your own structure, right? Like, which is like, I imagine a big part of kind of that transition. Like that was the part that I found really interesting. Like the first time that you and I chatted, as we were, probably shoveling food in our face in between moving equipment, was somehow we got onto that conversation, probably talking about your, this organization. And it was just, I remember you saying like that these people come home and like, it's not just, I don't have structure. It's, I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to like grocery shopping is like foreign concept to me at that point, because someone like yourself went in later, but a lot of these people go in from the time that they're leaving home.
Mommy's still doing their laundry,
right? Like, none of this has happened. And just this stuff that people don't think about, and, like in thinking about veterans, reacclimation and things like that, it was always kind of like decompressing and in my mind, it was always the decompression and deprogramming, like stuff on that level, but not just the basic stuff like that. Like it just never occurred to me until we had that conversation that this is the thing. And immediately it was like, wow, like, no, that is so important that somebody's focusing on that. And to hear that just no one, from the VA and the government or any of these other type of organizations really pay attention to that is astounding to me.
And I tell everyone, and I think I mentioned it to you, the military, all branches of the military do a really great job of training you to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
You are the absolute best at whatever it is you're going to do. And then they just cut you loose.
Mm-hmm.
They don't teach you how to be a person. They don't teach you how to handle responsibility other than responsibilities for your job.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just like, hey, here's the world.
Yeah.
Have fun. Figure it out. So people struggle and they fall flat on their face. And then once they do, now you've taken a person who was really, really successful and they've failed, maybe for the first time in their life, to the point that they don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to fix it. And so what we're working on is developing that curriculum, developing that structure, developing that support group where it's okay to fail. And it's okay to be different. And it's okay to understand that you will never be like everybody else is walking around. You just have to learn how to be the better version of you. And so that's
you can actually be better than everybody else walking around because you're so well trained and prepared. You just have to know how to kind of rechannel it.
Yeah, exactly. You rechannel it. You take that motivation, you put it somewhere else. A huge part of our curriculum is getting veterans involved in something. I don't care what it is. Go to the gym, go fishing, go surfing,
find a purpose. Yeah.
Find a hobby, something to eat up that spare time so that you're not in your own head, and depending on medication and depending on people that don't necessarily have your best interests at heart to help you. So that's part of what we do. And part of a lot of the partnerships we're going to build is, yes, they get their curriculum, they come to their group meetings and they got their caseworker and they're helping them work through these things. But what are they doing with their off time? What is that thing they're going to find that, man, I really love to go hunting, or man, I really love archery, or, whatever it may be. So that's how we're building and structuring that program.
And how are you finding people for this?
I am really good at finding people smarter than me. It's my superpower, because I am not smart. But for some reason, I'm really good at finding people that are smart at what they do.
Okay, that counts.
And then it goes into that motivation part. Hey, this is what I'm passionate about. This is where I see this going. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And then the psychologists are like, yeah, absolutely. Because they think like you. They're like, wait, why aren't we focusing on this anyway?
Yeah.
How is that not happening?
Yeah. How is this not already a thing? Yeah.
Yeah. The organizational people, the folks that are helping me do grant writing are like, no, people need to fund this. The funding's there. We know it's there. I'll tell you where it is. Watch this.
Yeah.
And so that's how I find.
So you've had to go through like all of that kind of, the red tape paperwork, like setting this up. And I mean, but so how do people come, like I've seen you kind of at events, right? I saw you at GPM, obviously. So do you do a lot of is that how you kind of are doing a lot of outreach, or
that's how we're doing the outreach now?
Okay.
Once we get a little more finalized and set up and have a very permanent location, then I'm going to start taking what we do to the VA offices themselves. I'm going to walk into the VA and all the folks that I know there, and there's some really great people there, say, hey, I've got this. Send me, like the Statue of Liberty, send me your dirty, downtrodden, send me the guys that you just can't fix.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out, and use them as success. And my idea, kind of the end goal of it, is develop this to the point that I can go to the Department of Defense and be like, hey, what you guys is doing is not working. Let me do it.
So ultimately, it could turn it into a lobbying.
I don't even know if lobbying will be involved. Yeah, absolutely. Because you have to change policy, but I want to take over the transition program for the Department of Defense.
Help build it.
Yeah. I want to go in and be like, yours, good job. Good try.
Yeah.
Now take this, and we're going to let you do this, and this is going to work. And here's why, because it's already worked.
Interesting. Do you find a lot of crossover in between a father's place and this organization? Meaning, do you see a lot of veterans in your day job?
Not as many as you would think. I would think there'd be a lot more, because in my head, being a good person, being a good dad is kind of a universal thing. You don't necessarily have to be a veteran. You don't necessarily have to be a dad.
Sure.
It's all about the core things are the same. You have to know how to manage relationships. You have to know how to manage your finances. You have to know how to talk to people, interact, and you have to know how to take care of your body and your mind. So to me, there should be more crossover. I feel like there should be all kinds of people going, hey, can you do this for me? And be like, well, we don't necessarily do it for you, but there's this other place.
Right.
But a lot of the basics are the same. Because like I said, it's being a good person, being productive, and being able to make an impact on the people in your life and the community around you. It's really all it is.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about your fitness journey then. So it sounds like it started kind of in the military. It was like, where you kind of got into PT and, enjoyed that.
Well, sort of. So
You
prior to
listed it as part of the things that you like.
It is. I really did love it. I had come from a very fit background. I had always, ever since I was a child, trained in martial arts. I had taught Japanese martial arts before I joined the Army. I was fit when I joined the Army. Like I wasn't out of shape at all. I had a drug problem, but
did you play sports when you were growing up?
I did. I wrestled in high school. It was on a triathlon team with the JRTC unit I was with. So I'd always been active. I grew up on a farm basically. So work.
Yeah.
There's 500 bales of hay we got to move.
Yeah. Hey. Exercise whether you like it or not.
Yeah, there's no choice. So I'd always been fit. And then so transitioning into the Army, it was like, oh, okay. I just get paid to do it now, which is awesome.
Even better.
Yeah. And then I got out and drank a lot and got fat, which nobody wants. And so again, I don't know how to do things half-ass. So I went and got my personal trainer certification and got a nutritional coach certification and then got a, what was it? I forget the other one. It really wasn't fitness. It was a life coach, which I was like, no one needs to come to me for life advice.
Yeah, but it goes great with the things that you're doing.
It does. Right? It helps out a little bit.
What's different in the life coach certification than the other ones that you did? So like, do they incorporate a lot of the same things, or is it really now it's more?
No, the life coach part was actually kind of useless, and that sounds horrible. All the life coaches out there, I'm very sorry. I did not mean to call you useless. But it really is a lot of getting people to do what it is that they already want to do.
Okay.
People are coming to you like, oh, I need help on my fitness journey. I need help motivating myself. No, you don't. You just need somebody to tell you to get off your ass and go do it.
Well, maybe in the life coach arena, but like, I mean, I know in the fitness coaching, that we're doing here and nutrition coaching, I mean, I've been doing this for so long. You've been doing this for so long. A lot of these things come second nature to us. Absolutely. Like, of course, this is what you do. But so many people are like, I don't even know how to get started. Right. And so like, it's part of what I like about doing that now is, helping those people that are like, I joined the gym. I don't know what to do next. It's not even like, I don't know what machines do, but like, how do I exercise? Right. What's right for me? What should my goals be?
And see, all that made sense to me in the physical, personal training. That part made sense. In the life coaching, it was like, well, how do you feel about doing that?
So it's more, how do you feel about it?
Get off your ass and go lift. That's what you need to do. Yeah. That's my life coach advice for you.
Yeah.
That's my life coach advice for the world.
I don't imagine that was in the textbook around the test.
Probably. Yeah. I don't think it was. It was a lot of, asking them questions.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I don't care.
And so did you do personal training before you came to the Sky?
No, I was actually working out at Sky with Curtis in the boxing classes. He almost made me puke. It was awesome.
He has that tendency.
I know. It was great. Love Curtis. And that's how I was like, okay, like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Like I'm not going to just
not half-ass.
Yeah, no half-ass.
I don't just work out. I have to learn how to teach it.
Exactly. I have to learn how to do it 100% the correct way all the time.
Show everybody else.
Because, in the Army, you just go work, you train. And can I lift that? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Put a 100-pound backpack on my back and then lift it. Yeah, let's do it. So I was getting that certification. And then the first class I ever taught, as far as outside of the Army, physical fitness, was at the Sky Fitness location over on 17.
So the boot camp that we did over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. That was the first one I ever took. And I think 3 people threw up.
In the same class?
In the same class.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice. So you've dialed it back a lot since then.
I have. People were crying. And I've learned that, I can't necessarily just kill them every single class. Like
they didn't appreciate it.
No,
you did.
I did. I loved it. I was like, yeah, you guys did great. No.
Good job.
I can't feel my hands.
Is teaching your favorite part of it, or do you like having one-on-one clients? Is that a thing?
It's not really a thing.
You like the group thing.
I like the group thing because again, and I don't know, somebody put like a description of my class and they were like supportive. I'm like, that's not me. I am supportive. Don't think I'm not. But my style of motivation when it comes to that is very direct. I don't care how you feel.
Yeah.
You're here for a reason.
I mean, I walk past your class. I haven't actually taken your class, but I walk past your class and I appreciate it because I hear the feedback that you're giving. You're like, okay, you're half-assing it, step it up. Or, you know, like someone's like, oh, it's too much.
I don't
like,
care.
too bad, keep doing it.
This is heavy.
Which is what motivates me. So like, yeah, but also probably I won't take your class.
That's okay. That's all right. It would be really awkward just yelling at you. And I'd have to yell at you more.
Shell acclimated to it. I'm sure you would too.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, I can have fun with that. No, and it really is. And I tell them even after class, like, look, yes, I'm hard on you. And I mean to be. I'm not being nice to you for any reason. You're here for a reason. You needed someone to motivate you. You needed someone to tell you that it's okay to sweat and it's okay to be sore.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to tell you it's okay to quit. I'm going to make fun of you and I'm going to call you a loser. It just is what it is. And then I'm going to laugh at you when you puke. And then I'm going to hand you a bottle of water until you get back to work.
Not what we put in the description of the class, but just so you know. This is
it's absolutely not. I think Tina read it to me and I was like, who is that?
That's Mike.
It's not me. Maybe I should edit those next time. You will hate me.
You might get more people.
I may, which I'm okay with too.
It's a totally different clientele.
Yeah, he's the guy. Oh, you really hate yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first class I taught, and it's just kind of continued there. I've had to kind of come and go on my own training because of injuries. Because again, I mean, I think my latest one is my tibia and fibula are separating when I walk on them. Yeah, loads of fun. Yeah, consistent and repetitive high ankle sprains will do that. So that's what the physical therapist told me, and he looked at me and he says, "There's nothing I can do for you." Great.
So you teach boot camp now, and I think you said that you previously taught martial arts. Is that something that you still do martial arts, and is teaching martial arts something that you're interested in doing in the future, or no, we're done with that?
I don't know. I don't know if my body can do it anymore.
Okay.
I did try to take some classes a few years back, and my joints and shoulder and neck injuries, it's not conducive. You know, I can still hit things really hard, but I don't think my body's at that level where I could confidently step back in and be like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do these moves, and you're possibly going to depend on them one day to defend yourself. So I don't think that's in my future. It's always kind of played a huge role in my decision-making process and how I think and how I process through situations. But yeah, I don't think that's where I'm at really anymore. And I know my mentor, God rest him, is probably rolling over in his grave and saying that, but that's okay.
So last question.
Okay.
Who would you say is the most influential person that, you know, you've kind of experienced in your life, and, you know, what is it about them that makes you feel that way?
My grandfather. Easy. He was my hero. Kind of long and short. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't expect that. I go from screaming at people in a boot camp class to hey, I got to take a moment. No, he really was my hero. He was transformative in my life, and a lot of decisions that I've made or not made were kind of based on the things that he taught me. So it would be him, and I still think the most impactful thing he ever told me is that there was nothing that any person on this earth could do that I could not.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we were rebuilding an engine. I'll never forget it. My biological father had blown the engine in a truck of his, and we were rebuilding it. I didn't know how to do it. And he looked at me and he was like, so? And I was like, but I don't know how to do it. He's like, someone built that engine, right? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, then you can.
And so can you.
Yeah. He's like, there's nothing any person on this planet can do that you cannot do, that you can't learn to do. And it stuck with me my entire life. And here I am today, you know, pursuing PhDs.
Well, that is something that I could see. Like, that's that voice in the back of your head that says, if I don't know how to do it, I go learn how to do it and then go do something with it.
Yeah. Then go do it.
Yeah.
That's that. lived my entire life that way.
That's great. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
I'm glad it does you. I'm still figuring it out.
Well, thank you very much for sitting with me. And like, this has been as informative and enjoyable as I thought it would be. And I think I learned a lot.
For class, enjoyable. You'll never say that about
yeah,
my
you
class.
won't get that in class. It doesn't sound like. But like, just learned a lot about what those programs are, and that is, like I said, one of the things that I kind of wanted to get to, and I think is important for everybody else to hear about. So
absolutely. And shameless plug, if you are in a crisis and you are a non-custodial parent in South Carolina, www.afathersplace.org or 843-488-2923. Someone will be there to answer your call, and we will get you the help that you need. And Operation Veteran Reintegration, if you do need help, you are falling flat on your face, you can call my cell phone number. And I'm sure we'll post that somewhere. I won't rattle that one off real quick. Or you can find our Facebook page, Operation Veteran Reintegration on Facebook, and we will definitely get back to you.
And if you're looking to just come have your ass kicked.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is your man.
And well, no, I'm not going to say that. I would say I won't be too hard on you the first time, but I absolutely
He's lying.
will. Yeah. Can't even do that with a straight face.
Great. Thanks, Jules.
Thank you.